Arjuna's dilemma. A mighty war began at the battlefield of Kurukshetra. The armies of Pandavas and Kauravas had assembled. All around there was uproar of soldiers shouting, conch shells blowing, horses neighing and elephants trumpeting. Duryodhan was apprehensive due to the prowess of the Pandava army and Lord Krishna being on their side. However, he pacified himself by expressing the glories of his own army to his martial guru Dronacharya. Thus, starting with Bhishma, all warriors blew their conch shell to herald the beginning of the war. Krishna became Arjuna's charioteer and counselor. He brought Arjuna's chariot to the front line for an overview. Seeing all his beloved relatives, like Guru Dronacharya, Guru Kripacharya, his uncles and cousins, including his grandfather on the other side, Arjuna was overwhelmed with grief. How can I fight my near and dear ones, O Krishna? I cannot fight this battle. I do not wish any riches or kingdom. What use is victory if my loved ones are not there for me? Overcome with grief, Arjuna refused to fight, even though he knew that Kauravas had wronged his family. O Krishna, war brings only misery and disaster. I cannot kill my kith and kin. Let them kill me instead. Saying so, he dropped his bow and sank down in despair. It was then that Krishna came forward and taught Arjuna how the righteous path was not always an easy one. One had to be willing to fight for what one believed to be right, even if it meant sacrificing one's own life. This sermon came to be known as the Bhagavad Gita. The Bhagavad Gita. We'll be going through different chapters of the Bhagavad Gita. In a very easy language, the author of this book has expressed and tried to communicate the preachings and learnings of the great Bhagavad Gita. The Bhagavad Gita. Here we begin. Krishna said, O Arjuna, let not this dilemma reign over your mind. Don't behave like a coward as your enemies are not thinking about your well-being. This war is no ordinary war. It is a dharma yudh, the battle of righteousness. It is a battle between good and evil. May it be known to you that a person's dharma lies in performing their duty while the results should be left to God. To oppress others is a sin, but to tolerate oppression is a far greater sin. All those whom you claim to be your relatives are none but individual souls, unrelated to you. They are on their way to the ultimate destination of uniting with the Supreme Lord, the Brahma. So do not worry and pick up your weapon and fight. That is what is ordained for you. Do not think of the consequences. I feel like renouncing my kingdom and retiring to the forest in peace. O Krishna, my friend and guide, please show me the way through these dark hours of my life, Arjuna pleaded. Do not talk of renunciation. Do not think that you will be praised for your renunciation. In fact, you will be blamed for centuries to come for running away from the battlefield. Every generation will make fun of your cowardice. O Arjuna, fighting this dharma yudh is the need of the hour. So stand up and fight this battle. Encourage Lord Krishna. The eternal soul. Krishna further said, Those who are wise lament neither for living nor for dead. Everything exists eternally. Although there is always some pain in losing our loved ones, the wise undergo that pain with patience and tolerance. They carry on without letting grief overwhelm their lives and ruin their responsibilities. Krishna then explained the fundamental distinction between temporary material body and eternal spiritual soul. Soul is indestructible, immeasurable, unborn, and eternal. Childhood, youth, old age, and death are attributed to the body and not to the soul. The feelings of heat and cold are transitory. One should ignore them. The people about whom you are worried are mortal, perishable. So why lament? Fight, O Kunti Putra, fight. Don't worry about their bodies as they are already lifeless. What is real is the soul, and that is indestructible. The soul is never born and it never dies. Even if you kill them, their soul will be alive. No weapon can cut a soul, no fire can burn it. Water cannot drench it, nor the wind can dry it. Death is simply a change of body for the soul, like a change of clothes. We, the eternal spiritual soul, have no reason for having grief over death of the temporary body. The elements that form the body and life return to nature after death and again form another body, another life. As such, there is no cause for grief. The Lord said, "Know the truth, O Arjuna. Whoever is born has to die, and whoever is dead has to be reborn." A man who has no knowledge thinks that he is a body with a soul, but in reality, it is a soul with a body. Lack of this knowledge is the cause of grief. This knowledge about the souls is known as Brahma Vidya. So, my dear Arjun, know yourself and be free forever. The path of karma. Krishna further reminded Arjuna that happiness comes only from the right action, that is, duty. Arjun's duty as a warrior was to protect the virtuous. Even if Arjuna were to die in the war, he would attain heaven as the reward of dutiful action. The results of wise action are imperishable. The wise, therefore, strive for wise action with steady determination. The ultimate goal or enlightenment is best achieved by wise action or karma yoga, in which one acts out of duty only without personal attachment or expectation. Krishna also explained the reason for the need of devotional activities. If one does not fix his mind upon God, it will attach itself to sensory objects, leading to illusion. Engaging in devotional activities helps to control one's senses. A true devotee has a steady mind and is indifferent towards good or evil. Arjuna listened to Krishna patiently. At times he understood what the Lord said, and at times he didn't. He was a little puzzled. "O Lord, I fail to understand your words. On one hand, you say that all emotions and attachments should be abandoned, and on the other hand, you are urging me to fight a battle that involves a lot of passion and anger. You tell me to do my duty, but how can fighting my own relatives be my duty?" Krishna explained, "O Arjuna, do not confuse the path of knowledge with the path of karma or action. Everyone has to engage himself in some sort of work according to his qualities or nature. As a warrior, your duty is to fight the evil. One must do one's duty without attachment. That is the key." Saying so, Krishna smiled. "Tell me, O Lord, what forces a man to commit sin?" asked Arjuna. "Desire, dear Arjuna, brings our downfall. it invites worry, sadness, and sufferings along with it. It is desire that prevents us from seeing the soul or God within us or around us. O Arjuna, kill this enemy and be free. Krishna answered. Knowledge of God. Lord Krishna then mentioned two major paths to peace and happiness in life. One is that of sacrifice of one's material possessions, and the other is knowledge of self. Knowledge of self is purely a spiritual activity. If someone's material sacrifice is not connected to any spiritual cause, then such sacrifice becomes simply materialistic. But if one performs the sacrifice with a spiritual objective, then he makes a perfect sacrifice. When we perform spiritual activities, we find that these are also divided into two, namely, understanding of one's own self and understanding the truth or the real nature of the Lord, which is eternal, all-knowing, and blissful. Arjuna seemed puzzled. You and I are almost of the same age, O Lord. Then how is it that you know everything that has happened from the beginning of the creation? He asked. At this, Krishna smiled and said, You and I have passed through many births. I know them all while you do not. Whenever there is a decline in the righteousness in the world, I manifest myself for the protection of the virtuous and destruction of the evildoers. I am reborn throughout the ages. One who has the knowledge and understanding of this reality is liberated. After leaving this mortal body, such souls never come back to this temporary world of miseries. Tell me more about knowledge, O Lord, asked Arjuna, now more curious. Even if you are the most sinful person, you can burn all the sins with knowledge. Knowledge is like a purifier. And how can one attain knowledge? Asked Arjuna. A man who has full control of his senses, who is truly devoted to spiritual practice and is full of faith, attains knowledge. So Arjuna, share all your doubts. Doubts come from ignorance. Conscious action. Krishna continued. One who neither hates nor desires the fruits of his actions is known to be always renounced. One who works in devotion, though he is always working, is a man who is never entangled. While the one who is greedy for fruits becomes entangled. One who acts with knowledge but inwardly renounces the fruits attains peace, detachment, and bliss. The Lord explained that it is important to think about the result of any action before taking it up. When we choose an action, we also choose its result. That's why work or any action has to be done for the welfare of all and not just to satisfy a desire or personal gain. Conquering the mind. Arjuna was listening patiently till now, but he still looked perplexed. O Lord, you have explained to me about the path of spiritual knowledge and the path of selfless action. Which is better? Both the paths lead to supreme bliss, but Lord Krishna considered the path of selfless action or service to humanity without attachment to its results as the best path for most people. Then he explained how it was important to engage one's body, mind, and soul in the service of Lord. The mind is the most difficult to control, and one has to conquer it. Otherwise, lust, anger, greed, hatred, etc. would always distract and deviate the person. The conqueror of mind automatically follows the direction of the Supreme Lord. How should man control his mind, O Krishna? Was the expected question from Arjuna. Man can control himself through meditation. The third path of God is the yoga of meditation. was Krishna's response. One who is united with God is called a yogi. A yogi has control over his mind, senses, and desires. He is free from anger and greed. He sees God in everything and everything in God. In order to meditate, sitting in a quiet place, one should hold one's body, neck, and head erect and stare steadily at the tip of one's nose with a calm mind. Regulation of the habits of eating, sleeping, recreation, and work also helps to de-stress and relax. Continuous practice of this results in controlling our senses and desires better. Attaining the Lord, Arjuna finally understood how to detach his mind from the worldly pleasures through meditation. Now, I will tell you how to attach your mind to me. Meditate on me and you shall know me as the repository of all power and divinity, the soul of all, declared Krishna. Arjuna listened carefully as Krishna carried on. Earth, water, air, fire, ether, mind, intelligence constitute the material energy, and the living entity belongs to another superior energy. I am the source of all these energies. The taste of water, light of the sun and the moon, the sound Om, the ability in man, the fragrance of the earth, the heat in fire, the strength of the strong, the intelligence of the intelligent, all represent me. I am the eternal seed of all beings. All beings evolve from me and dissolve in me. I am the source of the entire creation. Only by surrendering to me, one can overcome all the hurdles in life. Lord Krishna further continued, the kind of thoughts one has during the course of his life accumulate to influence his thoughts at the time of his death. Whatever state of being one is at the time of death, he attains that without fail. The present life creates one's next life, so one should always contemplate on God. How should a person contemplate on God? Asked Arjuna. It is very easy for my devotees to attain me at the time of their death. Simply by performing devotional service they reach my eternal abode. Krishna replied. The supreme knowledge. Arjuna was listening intently all this while. Sometimes he understood what Krishna said and sometimes he questioned. My dear Arjuna, I shall impart to you the most confidential knowledge, knowing which you shall be relieved of the miseries of existence, said Lord Krishna. My unmanifested form pervades this entire universe. Although I am the maintainer of all living entities and although I am everywhere, I am not a part of this cosmic manifestation, for I am the very source of creation. The whole cosmic order is under me, yet I am ever detached from all these material activities. I am the ritual, the sacrifice, the offering to the ancestors, the healing herb, the transcendental chant. I am the butter and the fire and the offering. I am the father of this universe, the mother, the support, and the grandsire. I am the object of knowledge, the purifier, and the syllable O. I am also the Rig, the Sam, the Atharva, and the Yajurvedas. I am the goal, the sustainer, the master, the witness, the abode, the refuge, and the dearest friend. I am the creation and the annihilation, the basis of everything. Those who worship the demigods will take birth among the demigods. Those who worship the ancestors will go to the ancestors. Those who worship ghosts and spirits will take birth among such beings, and those who worship me will live with me. Even if one commits the most abominable action, if he decides to engage in devotional service to me, He is to be considered saintly because he has made the right decision. He quickly becomes righteous and attains lasting peace. O son of Kunti, my devotee never perishes. The Omnipresent Krishna. Arjuna heard Krishna mesmerized. He felt blessed to hear the glories of Krishna. He also felt very proud that he had such a magnificent friend and guide during his time of need to show him the way. Krishna continued, I am present everywhere. Everything in this world moves and happens due to my will. All emotions like intellect, wisdom, forgiveness, truth, self-control, joy, sorrow, fear, self-control, charity, and the like of all these originate from me. Anything extraordinarily beautiful and glorious should be considered as a fragmental manifestation of my splendor. All things exist due to my entering into them as Supersoul. Saying this, Lord Krishna paused. Arjuna was awestruck by his friend's revelations, said, O Lord of the Lords, you are the prime deity, the unborn and all-pervading. I believe in you. It is true that neither the gods nor the demons can describe your divine glory. Only you can describe your divinity. Forgive me as my mind still wanders through numerous confusions. Please do tell me in what particular forms should I perceive you. Please tell me once more in detail about your glory, for my mind is yet not satisfied. Lord Krishna smiled at Arjuna's earnest pleadings. My friend, there is no limit to my magnitude. I reside in the hearts of all beings. I am the bright sun among all the celestial bodies. I am the Indra, king of gods, among the gods. I am the life force in all beings. I am the Brihaspati among the priests. I am the ocean among the water bodies. I am Narada amongst the celestial sages. I am Varuna among the water gods. I am the wind in nature. I am Vasuki among all the serpents. I am the Ganges among the rivers. I am Rama. Always know, my dear Arjuna, that I am the beginning, the middle, and the end of all creations. I am the endless time. I am the wisdom in all beings, and I am in you among the Pandavas. Always remember that every glorious creature, whether living or non-living, are parts of my existence. Know me to be all-pervasive and omnipresent, holding the universe in my divine power. The cosmic form of Krishna. The revelations of Krishna regarding his omnipresence had amazed Arjuna. O dear Lord of the universe, I want to thank you for your kindness and your sacred words. All my confusions are cleared now, but Lord, I wish to see your divine form. If you consider me suitable of beholding your eternal and imperishable form, please do reveal it to me. Arjuna bowed his head and pleaded. Hearing this, Krishna smiled and said, O brother Arjuna, I have innumerable divine forms of various colors, but how will you see them with your mortal eyes? For that, I will grant you divine vision. And so Arjuna was bestowed divine vision. The next moment, Krishna came into his Vishwarup form, which was an unlimited, blazing, effulgent, universal form. Arjuna was stunned to see the cosmic form of Krishna. With folded hands, he offered prayers. He saw the magnificent Lord Krishna having many faces on all sides, dressed in divine ornaments, emitting brilliant light and carrying celestial weapons. All around there was a strong, sweet fragrance of sandalwood. The cosmic form of Krishna was so huge in size that he filled the space between the earth and heaven. Arjuna also saw that the whole universe was part of his body. Lord Brahma was seated on the lotus flower and Lord Shiva with his serpents was also there. There were many other gods in Krishna's cosmic body. Arjuna said, Lord, I have realized that you are the creator and the destroyer of all things. You possess eternal power. As he was speaking, he saw all the gods and goddesses entering Krishna's divine body. He also saw Dhritarashtra's son entering the Lord's mouth. Seeing this, Arjuna asked nervously, Who are you and what is your mission, as all these people are entering your mouth to be destroyed? Arjuna, understand that I am Kal or time, the destroyer of the world. I will destroy these people even without you. You feel that you will kill them, but the reality is that I have already killed them, Krishna responded. At this, Arjuna begged for forgiveness. O merciful Lord, please forgive my mistakes as I did not know your real power. Please show me your original form, O Lord, the form of Vishnu. Arjuna wished to see the form that he had always worshipped. Krishna manifested his four-armed form of Vishnu and then resumed his original two-armed form that was so very beautiful and dear to Arjuna. Devotional Path. Arjuna was listening attentively to Krishna all this while. Seeing this, Krishna said, Till now I have explained about the path of knowledge and the path of action. There is yet another path through which one can attain me, and that is the path of devotion. But after seeing the cosmic form of the Lord, Arjuna wanted to know which form should be worshipped, the formless, cosmic one, or the form of Krishna. Krishna told Arjuna that worship of God with a form with faith was easier and better for most people. But a true devotee had faith in everything, the formless God and the God with a form such as Rama, Krishna, Hanuman, Shiva, Devi, etc. A true devotee would be constantly engaged, sometimes chanting, sometimes reading books about Krishna, or sometimes cooking prasadam, or cleaning the temples or the dishes. Whatever he would do, he would not let a single moment pass without devoting his activities to Krishna. Tell me, O divine friend, what are the qualities of a true devotee? Asked Arjuna. With a smile, Krishna replied patiently, A true devotee is never disturbed in any circumstance, nor is he envious of anyone. He thinks that one is acting as his enemy due to his own past misdeeds. Thus, it is better to suffer than to protest. Whenever a devotee is in trouble, he thinks that it is the Lord's mercy upon him that he is not getting all the punishment he deserves. A devotee is also always kind to everyone, even to his enemy. He is tolerant and he is satisfied with whatever comes by the grace of the Lord. A devotee for whom no one is put into difficulty and who is not disturbed by anxiety, who is steady in happiness and distress, is very dear to me. One who neither grasps pleasure or grief, who neither laments nor desires, is very dear to me. A pure devotee is neither happy nor distressed over material gain and loss. If he loses anything that is very dear to him, he does not lament. He is prepared to accept all kinds of risks for the satisfaction of the Lord. Such a devotee is very dear to me. Creation and Creator. Arjuna sat at the feet of Lord Krishna, absorbing his every word. Krishna explained that the whole world, including our body, is made of 5 basic elements: earth, water, fire, air, and ether. We have 11 senses, 5 sense organs: nose, tongue, eye, skin, and ear. 5 organs of action: mouth, hand, leg, anus, and urethra, and a mind. We smell through our nose, taste through our tongue, see through our eyes, feel touch through our skin, and hear through our ears. We also have a sense of feeling by which we feel pain and pleasure. All these give our body what it needs to work. The soul inside our body is also called prana. It supplies power to the body to do all the work. When it leaves the body, we die. There are 6 changes of the body. As the body is born, it grows, it stays, it produces byproducts, then begins to decay, and at the last stage, it vanishes. Therefore, the body is a non-permanent material object. This body is made by material nature, under the direction of God. Whatever one is supposed to do, either for happiness or for distress, one is forced to do so because of the bodily constitution. The 3 modes of material nature. Lord Krishna said again, "Now I shall enlighten you about the supreme wisdom, the best of all knowledge. The total material substance called Brahma is the source of birth, and it is that Brahma that I saturate, making possible the births of all living beings, O son of Kunti. Everything that takes place in the world is due to the combination of the body and the soul." Material nature consists of 3 modes: gunas, goodness, sattva, passion, rajas, and ignorance, tamas. When the living entity comes in contact with nature, he or she becomes habituated by these modes and acts under the spell of 3 modes of material nature. Under the influence of the mode of goodness, one does good and right actions. Under the influence of the mode of passion, one becomes selfish. And under the influence of the mode of ignorance, one does bad things or becomes lazy. Laziness destroys a person. Passion ties him to the world. Goodness frees him from the grasp of passion and laziness, but it cannot give him spiritual knowledge. When a person is able to transcend the 3 modes, he can become free from birth, death, old age, and their distresses, and can enjoy nectar even in this life. At this, Arjuna asked thoughtfully, "Oh my dear Lord, please tell me, how does a man transcend these modes of nature?" Krishna smiled and said, "He who is unaffected by changes in material reactions, who regards pleasure and pain alike, who looks upon a stone and a piece of gold with an equal eye, who is unchanged in honor and dishonor, who treats friend and foe alike, such a person is said to have transcended the modes of nature. Such people always engage in full devotional service, do not fall down in any circumstance, and they at once transcend the modes of material nature. They actually come to the level of Brahma." The eternal tree of creation. Lord Krishna said, "The involvement of man with his material world is like a banyan tree. For one who is engaged in materialistic activities, there is no end to the banyan tree. He wanders from one branch to another. The tree of this material world has no end, and for one who is attached to this tree, there is no possibility of liberation from the chain of birth and death. The problem lies in the fact that the real form of this tree cannot be perceived in this world. No one can understand where it ends, where it begins, or where its foundation is. But with determination, one must cut down this tree with the weapon of detachment. After detaching one's own self, one must seek that eternal place from which no one ever returns, and that place is me. But Lord, it is not easy to detach and surrender to you. Please explain this to me, asked Arjuna thoughtfully. At this, Krishna smiled. When one is free from illusion caused by pride, he can begin the process of surrender. Pride is due to illusion. Although one is born in the world, lives for a brief time, and then passes away, yet he has the foolish notion that he is the Lord of the world. The whole world lives under this impression. People think that the land, this earth, belongs to human society, and they have divided the land under the false impression that they are the owners. When one is freed from such a false notion, he becomes free. One has to cultivate knowledge of what is actually his own and what is not. And when one has an understanding of the things as they are, he becomes free from happiness and distress, pleasure and pain. He becomes full in knowledge. Then it is possible for him to surrender to me. Krishna continued, I am seated in everyone's heart, and from me come remembrance, knowledge, and forgetfulness. I am situated as Paramatma in everyone's heart, and it is from me that all activities are initiated. Lord Krishna thus imparted the most secret knowledge of Arjuna and revealed the eternal truths one by one. Arjuna, like a true devotee, kept absorbing Krishna's words of wisdom. He finally understood that the creation is changeable and does not last forever. It has a limited lifespan. The soul or Brahma does not change and is eternal. Krishna is the Parabrahma or the Supreme Being. He is the source of everything in the universe. Nature of people. Dear Arjuna, so far we have discussed about the soul, the body, and the supreme power. Now I shall tell you about the people in this world. There are two types of people in this world, good or divine and bad or demonic, said Krishna. He further said, the qualities of a good person are honesty, non-violence, truthfulness, freedom from anger, kindness, gentleness, modesty, forgiveness, and freedom from envy and greed. And arrogance, pride, jealousy, selfishness, anger, greed, harshness, ungratefulness, and violence are bad qualities that lead a person away from God. O son of Kunti. Then Krishna went to say that most people have both good and bad qualities. Getting rid of the bad habits and cultivating good ones is necessary for spiritual progress. And ended by saying, do not worry, O son of Pandu, for you are born with the divine qualities. Arjuna asked, O mighty armed one, I wish to understand the difference between renunciation or sannyas and selfless work or karma yoga. At this, Supreme Lord replied, to walk away from family, home and possessions and living in a cave or forest is not renunciation. A karma yogi gives up selfish attachments to the fruits of his work, while a sannyasi does not work for any personal gain. One's prescribed duties must be performed with this thought. We all must perform our duties well for the benefit of the entire humanity. O brave warrior, realize your duty and act accordingly. You are a warrior and you should respond to the call of time. Division of labor. Lord Krishna further explained that according to the Vedas, human beings were divided into four universal types of human labor. These four divisions, Brahmin, Kshatriya, Vaishya, and Shudra, were based on the mental, intellectual, and physical abilities of people. Those who were interested in learning, teaching, preaching, and guiding people in spiritual matters were called Brahmins or intellectuals. Those who could defend the country, establish law and order, prevent crime, and administer justice were called Kshatriyas, the warriors. Those who were good in farming, cattle raising, business, trade, finance, commerce, and industry were known as Vaishyas or businessmen. Those who were very good in service and labor work were classed as Shudras or workers. Arjuna's next question was, how can anybody living and working in society attain liberation? Krishna responded thus, work becomes worship when done as a service to the Lord and without selfish attachment to the results. If you work honestly, for which you are suited, you attain God. Brahmins, Kshatriyas, Vaishyas, and Shudras work in accordance with their modes of nature. The Brahmins work through peacefulness, self-control, austerity, purity, tolerance, honesty, wisdom, knowledge, and religiousness. Heroism, power, determination, resourcefulness, courage in battle, generosity, and leadership are the qualities of the Kshatriyas. Farming, cattle raising, and business are the qualities of work for the Vaishyas and for the Shudras. By following the qualities of work, every man can become perfect. So, my dear Arjun, by your nature, you will have to be engaged in warfare. Then the Lord spoke again. O conqueror of wealth, Arjuna, have you heard this attentively with your mind? And are your illusions and ignorance now dispelled? Arjuna said, my dear Krishna, my illusion is gone and I stand firm and free from doubt. Now I am prepared to act according to your instructions. Krishna called out, awake, Arjuna! Get hold of your bow and fight for the noble cause. The battlefield beckons you. Hearing Krishna's mighty call, Arjuna felt new energy flowing into him. He picked up his weapons and got ready to fight. Amidst the sound of the conch, the neighing of the war horses, the trumpeting of war elephants, and the war cries raised by the soldiers, Arjuna stepped forward to fight in the name of justice. I will, O Lord. My doubts have cleared and I have gained new knowledge. Saying this, Arjuna pulled the bowstring and the whole battlefield reverberated with its mighty twang. And so began the mighty war of Kurukshetra, the war of good and evil. This marks the end of Bhagavad Gita for kids.